I'm John Mercure. Welcome to our chat with the superintendent. David Munoz is with us. It's always good to catch up. Good to see you. How you doing, David?
It's great. Thanks seeing you.
You're in the district recently. You have a house. You're right in the heart of the Falls. How's the transition going?
It's going really well. We've even had people stop over and students say, "Hey, that's him," and walking the dog. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun living here, and we're still adjusting to that. We were just in Germantown, so it's great to be in the village. It's exciting for our neighbors. We have some wonderful neighbors where we live in the southern end of the Falls, but still in the district.
Isn't it such a welcoming village? I mean, you referenced that a couple of times in just that last sentence.
It really is. So just walking our dog around and there's so many dogs in our neighborhood that we all kind of know each other by our dogs.
Is that funny? We always joke like the dogs become friends. Oh, there's the schnauzer that barks all the time.
Right. And everybody's like, oh, they're the ones with the old dog, because ours is old. And they kind of just looks around, and other dogs, it's
new
great.
surroundings for the dog too.
Yeah, it's really great.
I'm glad to chat with you. I want to talk about a couple things that are important that you've really been leading on. I want to start with some financial stuff. The 10-year capital plan. It's not always the sexiest thing, but man, it is so important. If people ask you about our capital plan, what would you say are some of the highlights where we are right now?
Yeah, we're excited about the 10-year capital plan. That's on the website, so that's available for anybody to take a look at. And that's a living, breathing document. And the board is very aware of that. They approved it at the last school board meeting, and we can literally change that meeting to meeting if we choose to, just based on the needs of the district. Just for example, in this building, we happen to be at North Middle School. We're putting in a chiller for over $1 million in this building. Now, we were able to do that based on this sort of planning, but that's the sort of thing that you want to schedule out. It was just too old. They weren't making parts anymore. So
it's a big investment.
It's a big investment. We spent about $675,000 a year on just regular upkeep every year. And you can see all this on the 10-year capital plan. But we're excited. The board also approved what's called Fund 46.
Yeah, tell us about Fund 46.
Yeah, Fund 46 is a relatively new fund in the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin public schools do what's called fund accounting, and Fund 46 is a way to think about it like a rainy day fund, but more for public schools only. Okay. So putting dollars and cents into it, there's some rules. We have one now for the first time in the history of the district, and it's a long-term planning tool in order to make sure that you have the general upkeep, maintenance, and it's a capital fund that exists now forever.
And for public schools.
For this board, for this community, but also future boards and future members of our community. That's one of those reasons that it's now been created and exists for the district.
You hit on something so important. So you're the shepherd for our district. You're the guy who financially has to make sure we're in good shape, not only now, but down the road. And this is a tool that helps you do that.
Yeah, we have a wonderful business team, and really we have a great team in the whole district, but this larger plan, I mean, even people aren't knowing that we spend $675,000 a year in general maintenance, just regular upkeep. This summer when you drive by this building, you're going to see a whole bunch of roof work on North Middle School because it needs to be done. And you'll see all that on that 10-year capital plan. So as we hear things, not just from staff or board members, but from members of the community like you or me, like, well, what about this? You see this thing on the capital plan. Have you thought about moving that up a few years? You bet we'll take it into consideration because our facilities aren't just used by students. It's primarily for students, but also the community use. The community ed and rec, we use our facilities on nights and weekends. We have a wonderful band event this Friday night, and then all weekend our facilities are in regular use through our community ed and rec programs.
I hear the term defeasance. What is defeasance?
Yeah, defeasance is a financial tool. It's an option. We actually talked about it a little bit in committee for the first time a few weeks ago. Defeasance is an opportunity that will exist for the school board perhaps in the next few months. And what it is essentially, we have some debts in the district from the last referendum, all right? The fund that it sits in is Fund 39, which is referendum debt. If we can prepay some of what is owed from that past referendum, we could save interest and save the taxpayers money. That's essentially what defeasance is. It's a complicated process with, a lot of money people involved. But that's the gist of it, is that Defeasance is an opportunity that's going to exist for this district in the next few months. We'll present options to the board. We've already started giving them information about it, but the long and short of it is it's prepaying debts from the last referendum, years ago, and reducing interest, and prepaying those sorts of things, which frees up money available for teaching and learning.
We're talking to the Superintendent, David Munoz. I want to talk about school safety. I know it's a priority for you. It's near the top of the list. A couple specific things. There are now 3 police officers in our district. I think the 3rd student resource officer just started, right? Give us an update.
Yeah, we're excited about that. So the board had approved this in August, September. So at the start of this school year, we moved into from 2 resource officers to 3. It takes some time with training and with the schedule from the village. These police officers work for the village, not for the school district. But we're now operational with all of those officers in the district. That only increases the level of safety for students, staff, and the community as a whole. To have those officers regularly interacting with our students in a community-based policing approach.
I see them interacting, and I'm impressed because it becomes for kids then that they have a relationship with police officers. They understand law enforcement. Can you talk about that relationship? Having them in our buildings really should make the community feel safer.
Yeah, I'll give an example. I was at a wrestling tournament recently, and both of our resource officers were there, or 2 of the 3 were there. One of them happens to be a wrestler like myself back in the day. So it was really good to be able to see him interacting with parents and community members, wrestlers, and they knew he knew wrestling. They knew he knew wrestling. I mean, as do I, but that was great from the police perspective to see that connection.
He was a guy. They were hanging out with a guy that they connect with.
Who happened to be a police officer there to provide oversight security. So, and the officers that aren't wrestlers are great too, don't get me wrong.
Camera upgrades in the district, that's a thing also on the security side, right?
Yeah, we spent over $200,000 in some physical upgrades. The high school is fully up to speed with all of their upgrades. We're just doing some fine tuning. This building, we're at North Middle School. They should have the upgrades done by the end of spring break. So a lot of new upgrades, 21st century technologies, that sort of thing. And we're moving to the rest of the buildings as well. We've already done safety walkthroughs to make sure that we're ready for the type of infrastructure changes that are important. I mean, adding the resource officers is one side, but having the physical safety pieces as well is important. So it's something we're regularly looking at.
David, I want to ask you about some of the success we have in the district, and we're in a wonderful district with people who really care, and you've taken in a lot of the cool stuff that's going on. I know you're active and you're out and about all the time. Let's start with the robotics team. I want to ask you, because this is something we do really well in our district, robotics. You've had the chance to witness some of this.
Yeah, it's really interesting just seeing that interview with Roman, going on to MIT, a former student here, that he mentioned the robotics club not existing when he was here, and it is a wonderful thing. When I visited the robotics team, they invited me, and it was a nighttime, 7 o'clock at night, and they're there putting in so many extra hours. You had students coding in one room, you had students in the tech lab building things, and then you had them preparing for 2 of their tournaments. So it was, and then I talked to some of them about where they were going to school. One of them was going to Madison, I kid you not. One of them was going to Madison and going into engineering or computer science in Madison. Nice young man, and he was excited about his start. I mean, robotics is an elective. You don't have to do it. And there were so many students there, parent mentors, community mentors, teachers, of course. It was a wonderful environment.
You mentioned your wrestling background. Roman, who you mentioned, talked about baseball and football. How important is it that we have robust sports programs, an opportunity for kids to find things they're passionate about outside the classroom?
I think sports and the robotics team, FBLA, all of these co-curricular activities, what sets us apart from pure virtual schools. It's one thing that was maybe learned, I would say learned during the COVID-19 pandemic. I was a superintendent in the other district at the time, but it's all those robust activities that do connect kids and, and staff and community members in a way that you never know when something's going to click with somebody with respect to learning, you know, and if they're going to be into sports or wrestling or whatever it may be, that's great. But, you know, I didn't really wrestle beyond college. It was done. That, you know, it was fun. It was great. It's a part of my life, but it's not my whole life.
And there's pride in our community too, not just the
Absolutely.
district. I mean, wrestling regional champs. I mean, the community knows that. The community then feels connected to the district.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. I was there when they won the regional championship for wrestling, and we are sending a couple wrestlers to the state wrestling tournament soon here. Both basketball teams are into their playoff runs.
Yeah.
I think there's a game this Thursday night for the girls at the high school. So, but both teams are into their playoff runs. It's been a lot of fun. You know, even in the fall as well, looking at all the sports, you can see all the parents connected there as well. So it's a wonderful way to bring the community together, but also bring students together. Not just those that were playing. There's a lot of students in the stands, you know, cheering on their teammates and being connected to the community in that way.
Yeah, I love when you see people in the stands who don't even have kids in the school anymore. But it's a community thing, and I know you take that part of the district's relationship really seriously.
Yeah, I sat next to a guy actually at a football game. I might have mentioned this to you before, but it sticks with me. He was a Vietnam veteran or a military veteran, and I happened to be sitting next to him. My wife was there, and we just struck up a conversation. So I talked to people, and he was excited to be there, and he didn't know anybody on the field.
Wow.
He just lived in the Falls, and his kids had gone here years before, right?
That's awesome.
Just, you know, a little bit more experienced gentleman, but we had a fun conversation. I don't remember his name.
That's
But,
great, though. Just a guy who lives in town.
We were sitting there. We happened to be sitting at the top end. You know, it was a little cold out, so we were kind of watching the team, and I think we had a great go. I think we ended up losing that game, but it was a good team that we played. I think it was Marquette.
Yeah, yeah,
We were
yeah.
playing
They're tough every year.
Yeah, they were tough.
If you want more information on what we've discussed, the superintendent's right. Check out the district website. Everything you need on the capital plan is there. There's information on safety and security. There's fun success we've had in the district that they post on the website. So check out the district website. David Munoz is the superintendent in Menominee Falls. Thank you so much. It's always good to catch up.
Thank you.